just to be crystal clear for the public, has the Travis County DA's office asked of Chief Manley that he wait to take any administrative action against the officers who fired at Michael Ramos until the criminal investigation is complete?
Well, to be clear, that is a practice and a request that's been in place for a long time. So it's not new to the Ramos case. It has been, let's just say, a recognition on the part of both the police department and the DA's office, or a belief that the criminal case should proceed without any undue influence on those proceedings, say on the grand jury, by whatever action the police chief might take as a personnel matter. So that's been a long-standing practice in Travis County. It's not just for the Ramos case. But yes, that has been the practice. And I think there are good reasons for it. One would hope that the criminal proceeding would be undertaken by a grand jury without any consideration of what had happened on the personnel side.
And I know in the letter that Councilmember Cassar had posted that you had mentioned something about that's a practice that has been in place as long as there's been a civil rights division within your office. Is that correct?
Yes, well, yes, it's been there since the beginning of my term, but I also know that that was a practice followed by administrations prior to mine. But yes, we have had that understanding in place with the Austin Police Department since I created my civil rights unit.
Got it. And so, forgive me. So if this has been in place since before your term, then how many years would we say that this is a practice that has been going on?
I have no idea how many years before I came.
Got it. And as far as things have gone over the course of your time in office, have there been any situations where the police department has deviated from that?
No.
Got it. So,
but most of the cases that we've investigated, well, in those cases where we do not take a case to a grand jury, we are able to give the police department an indication much sooner than the ones where we take it to a grand jury. So they are able to then go on with their whatever administrative process they have in place.
And is this something that's an actual policy that's in place, or is this more of a gentleman's agreement between you and the police department?
It's a gentleman's agreement. The police chief doesn't work for me and I don't work for him. I'd like to say this, they're two completely different processes here, but they do intersect and they do affect each other. The administrative process that the police chief has to follow that begins with an internal affairs investigation, that starts at the very same time that the criminal investigation involving the Special Investigations Unit at APD and my Civil Rights Unit begins. So the two processes are taking place. All we do is say, before you commence making a personnel decision, let us present this case in the criminal context first. And generally speaking, that is a preferable way to proceed because of the importance of the integrity of the grand jury proceedings. So it's been, we've had a meeting of the minds that that's a good way to proceed. It has been deviated from before I came, as I understand it, by Chief Acevedo, but in my administration with the Chief Manley, we have had this agreement in place and he has not deviated from it. But both processes are committed to justice in their context, right? So I am wholly committed to seeking justice in the shooting of Mr. Ramos in the criminal context. according to the laws and the proceedings that apply to criminal cases. And I have talked to Mrs. Ramos and her lawyers, and I understand all of their concerns. We've tried to answer their questions and explain to them how our process will take place. And she passionately asked me, please seek justice for my son. And we're committed to doing that. And I know that on the personnel side of it, the Chief Manley and the internal affairs process is just as committed to doing justice in the context of the personnel decision. So both pursuits are important. Both pursuits happen about the same time and are ongoing at the same time, but one decision could affect the other. And so we have tried to keep that from happening. Councilman Kassar, because he's a city council person, is more concerned with the personnel side of it. But I know that he respects that the district attorney has to be concerned about the criminal side of it. And so we agree that we both have very important considerations to put before the public.